Hi guys! So, you know how I don't like these serious videos, but it's time for another one. So, one of the big issues in the world is negativity. A lot of people, when they're not happy with something that's going on with their environment, they want to blame the environment as a whole. And you cannot blame your environment as a whole. Yes, sometimes as a whole it is completely bad and toxic. But you need to be careful on how you do this and how you approach it, because if you're not careful, you're going to hurt that community more than you are going to help it. And I want to start off with saying that sometimes when you're not happy, you tend to lash out. And although you may mean these things because for you they're true, they may not be true for everyone else. And then that ends up hurting other people. There's a positive way and a negative way to go about it. I actually recently talked to a friend, I won't say any names, who had concerns about their community. And they actually were very positive about what they were saying. They made sure to leave out names, and they addressed their concerns and why it was their concerns. But they did it in a totally neutral way, which is healthy and proactive. Yeah, people might still get upset, but if you're proactive, it's better than being negative. Versus, I have another friend who did not do it so well in a positive way. And so that person had negative results. People got very angry with them, people blocked them, and it's just like, well, you have created this negativity. It is not to say that that person is wrong. I'm not going to judge that person. I'm not going to say if they're right or wrong, because it's not for me to say. Also, I am not in their shoes, so I do not know their whole situation. But whenever you are trying to bring up change, or whenever you don't like something, you have to be careful about how you go about it. Because if you are negative about it, you're going to hurt people more than you're going to help the situation. The other thing is, if you are not in that environment, do not put your nose where it does not belong. It is okay to comfort a friend. It is okay to protect a friend. It is okay to be with that friend, and that is fine. But when you start gossiping because of what your friend said and you were not there, that is bad, because then you are adding to the toxicity. You're no longer helping. And even if your point is valid at that point, everyone else is going to see you as the bad guy instead of whoever really is the bad guy. So you really have to think about how you present things. So yeah, that's the thing with that. Excuse me. Now, with that said, this happens in all types of communities. It happens in many creativity things. But in order for change to happen, you have to have positivity. It's just like, I'm in a Facebook group. They ask the people in that group what they think. And because they ask what they think, change happens. I would say most of the time change happens in a positive way, so that's good. I've been in other groups where they do not ask their members how they feel, and that does not allow change to happen. And so with that said, be aware of the people around you. Be respectful of the people around you, because when you start saying things like, oh, this community is toxic, you have already set that community up to fail or to exclude yourself. You will not get any compassion, love, or sympathy, because at the end of the day, they're going to see you as the bad guy instead of the other people. It doesn't say the other people are in the right or wrong, but regardless, you will probably end up being the one they see as the bad guy. It's okay to voice your opinion and to want justice for bad things, but there's a right and wrong way to do it. And this is easier said than done. I know as someone who's very righteous, I am sometimes outspoken. And I have had to learn how to better say things when I want to address them. Because you have to be careful not to offend. And if you do offend, you know, it's okay to forgive someone. Now, if they do it constantly and it becomes an issue of being overly dramatic, then okay, put them aside. But one offense, it's okay, forgive them. Another thing is, like, if you say something and then someone repeats what you have said, do not get angry at that person because you had already said it. Now, if they've made something up that you haven't said, then okay. So be careful what you say about yourself as well, because, like, if you start saying things that you don't feel you're ready for something, that might get repeated. And then it may get taken out of context. And then at that point, it's not even that person's fault, it's your fault, because you're the one who said it. So be careful how you say things as well towards yourself, because when you say things towards yourself or about yourself, they sometimes can be taken out of context, and then you end up being mad that the person, it's not that the person's fault, it's just that it was taken out of context. And it's really childish for friendships to end that way, or for communities to suffer for that. So forget about that. But yeah, it's a big issue that I see. I see it on my Instagram. I see it on my Facebook. I don't really see it on my Twitter, but Twitter's not really a place where you talk. Back when I had Tumblr years ago, and I'm thinking of maybe bringing it back, I saw it there too. And it's just that you have to be careful with toxicity, because toxicity can turn you into a troll, or can turn what you're working with into a troll. And you don't want that. And not just in the internet sense, but outside the internet too. But be careful what you say. Rather than calling a community toxic, point out what you don't like. And then from there, other people can judge whether or not they feel that way or not. And by judging whether or not they feel that way, then change can happen. If you automatically label it bad, you've already lost your audience that you're affecting. And once you've lost your audience, it's highly improbable that change is going to happen. Change takes time. It can only happen typically within a year or more. But, I mean, sometimes change happens like that. Pretty rare. And it's also rare that if it does happen like that, that it's consistent. Things take time. And you just have to be open to waiting and being patient. And I know, like, a lot of times people feel that they're being mistreated. They want things to happen right away. They want change to happen right away. Be careful not to unintentionally play the victim. That happens a lot too. Because then, instead of you getting your point across, everyone is going to think that you're crying out wolf. And that's not good either. Because then you've lost your audience and you've lost your point getting across. And that's why you'll lose followers and why people might block you, is because they will take your message out of context. So just be aware of that. And also, like, when it does happen, you don't have to point it out. Because when you have pointed it out, again, you're making yourself look bad. Because the moment you have pointed out, you're acting like a small child instead of a person who's actually in pain. And when you say that you don't care about something, and you make it publicly known, you're making a point that you do care about it because you had to say it. Now, if you just stay quiet, sometimes silence is the best option. Now, I'm not saying be silent about bad things that happen, but pick and choose your battles. And this is hard to do because you have to gauge your viewers and your audience and who you're talking to. But getting back to the community thing, a lot of times the community itself is not toxic because you cannot call a few bad events to you or to a people to cause a community to be toxic as a whole. You would have to go to every single event, which is entirely impossible. That is impossible. Even if you live in a small city, there's no way you could go to every single event. Because there are tons of times where there are like 2 or 3 events happening the same day at the same time. So there's no way that you could totally gauge it based on your own experiences. You can better gauge it based on other people's experience as well. But in order to truly understand a community, you need to analyze it on a larger scale and also from different age groups. Like, I know in my community, there are some issues, but I feel that my community is addressing that. And I do know when it comes to the youth, a lot of kids didn't have a lot of things in the entertainment business or entertainment in general. We have Kids & Co. And we have now little clubs, and we have more game stores. So there's a wider variety of things you can do. So there's Kids & Co. If your kid likes acting. There's Glitch if your kid likes video games. Let's see, what else is there? I know that there's a horse stable pretty close, but I believe that's in New Mexico, but it's still pretty close. So there's more things for the young to do. And even with adults, there's things that are changing. We have bars that are more friendly to go to now, instead of being more like, hey, let's dance, get drunk. I know Rubrics is really good. And there's a ton of them. There's no way I could name all of them. I also know there's a lot of comic book stores that you can go to, and they proactively promote community things. Like Asylum Comics, they do a lot of events, and so they're helping the community. And so when you get all this stuff going, and all this stuff is helping with the communities, and I'll review my video later, and I'll put their links down below, both my Facebook and my YouTube. I cannot do it on my Instagram, but I can put like a photo. I'll put a photo with all their links on my Instagram. I'll probably do this tomorrow or the day after. So it might be a day after that I post the video. But I do feel that I want to let you guys know that there's things out there for you. Now, like I said, there's tons of things out there, and there's tons of Facebook groups too. I really wish I could give a shout out to all of them, but that would take a lot of time. I know one Facebook group that recently posted, like, asked how their community thought was the El Paso cosplay group. I'm not super active in that group, but I am active in it. I do keep up with the things going on. I'm kind of an insider outsider because I put my feet in a little bit of everything. Because I don't like to, well, it's not that I don't like to belong to one organization, but I like to be open to everybody, and to all types of things. Because then also I can let people know that there are a lot of things they can do out there, and they have a lot of choices. But always, communities are growing, and like in my dad's case, he's an older person, so he's not into well, he does like comic books, but like, he's not going to go to a comic book store like I am going to go. So he has his trains, and there's actually a train club in El Paso. I'm not sure if they have a Facebook. I'll try to find that out for you guys, and if they do, I'll put some links down below too. On that, but there's options for alternate people of alternate ages. So here's the thing. People keep saying El Paso is toxic. No, it's not. No, it's not. Yes, there are parts of El Paso that can be. And yes, there are small things in the community that can be, because nothing's perfect. If we were perfect, then what would be the point of life? But to say that it is toxic as a whole is wrong. And this is not just an issue in El Paso. Like I said, I see it all over the place. And again, I make these videos because it really, really bugs me when these things happen. And I just feel that people need to be more aware of the things they say and more careful. Again, it's okay to voice your opinion. It really is. But you need to be smart about it. And you need to be aware of everybody. Because the moment you have said that, that the community as a whole is toxic. You've hurt a lot of innocent people who may have never met you, who may have no clue what you're even talking about or even be a part of what you're saying. And they're a part of that community too. So be careful. Be careful. Like, when I was in Kentucky, I had a little group of people I hung out. That was the film group. It was wonderful, beautifully. Now the only downside is that it was a little age discriminative. The school kind of had set it up that way. But the film club as a whole was not the problem. It was how the school was going about presenting it. And with time, the community got better. I remember my junior was kind of rocky. But by my senior year, we had freshmen going into the advance. Oh, I have a friend. This is Ghost. And he has decided to come aboard. Okay, so I guess I won't be putting it on Instagram because it's gone to 16 minutes. But anyway, getting back on the story because Ghost kind of distracted me. But yeah, by my senior year, positive improvements happened. Cliques were downsized. And the community became more positive. But it only became positive because we younger classmen the year before had voiced our opinions. And we asked for change. We asked for it in a positive way. If you are positive, you'll get positivity back. If you are negative, you'll get negativity back. That is how the world works. Whether you believe that or not is on you. Of course, there are a few exceptions. There are people that are jerkwads that, hey, they get $1 million. There are people who are really nice and they can't seem to get a break in the day. But most of the time, how you act is what you will get back. So remember, communities are not the toxicity. It is the things that go into that community and go out to that community that can be the toxicity, not the community itself. And so, decide. Are you going to put positivity in your community, or are you not going to put positivity in your community? Because if you're not, then don't waste your time. Because I assure you, nobody wants negativity or drama. Because it just hurts people. And then you have innocents who sometimes go to the dark side. And we're not talking about the cool dark side with cookies. We're talking that it taints them. So rather than tainting people, let's be humble and kind and help each other. And like I said, I'm so pleased with my community that they are trying to change. And I see that. But then I see other communities that they just want to bash it with a hammer. They don't want improvement. Or if they do, they're going about it the wrong way. Again, I'm not here to judge. And this video has reached close to 20 minutes. I love you guys. I hope I am not triggered again to do another one of these videos. But if I am, I will do it because I believe in positive environments and I believe in positive change. And I will never judge anyone who is cruel. Nor will I be mean to them because it's not what I want. I will be honest though if I don't like what they're doing, and I'll tell them. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I'm not going to be public about it because that's just rude. But I will tell them. And if it gets too bad, then there's always the door. Okay, so that's my spill on all the thing that I've been observing. I love you guys and take care, and I hope that this video was informative and helpful. If not, I am sorry guys. I do try my best to get messages across and to keep them very neutral. And I don't typically do shout outs in my videos because I like to keep them neutral. Plus, I don't like people to get all trigger happy. So by being neutral and not saying any names or places, it's the best way. But in this case, I felt like there are some places that needed to get that little shout out because they're doing a great thing. And I'm so humble about that and so grateful for that. And I love my community, so I love anywhere I go because I feel that life is a growing experience and it's best to always be positive. And if something doesn't work with you, then let it go and find something better because there's always a place that people belong. Yeah, it might take time to get there, but everyone finds it eventually. Okay, love you guys. Bye.